Hey folks, people might consider that what we're doing is a waste of time, but I really don't think so. So if you can follow me for, hopefully 10 minutes, I want to show you the extent that we're going to clean up the Stamford Superior Court. I've been suing them for 25 years. Okay, I've got 100 cases like this of documents. 100 cases. So, for example, there's folders in every box. This is case 112 to 130. Okay, you can open the box and see what it's all about. Here's my 113th lawsuit against Fidelity. Here's number 120. Well, as you see, it's filed in the court. There's the check that they cashed, and then they immediately dismissed the case. So not only did we do that with Fidelity, but we did it with, for example, Fiserv. We did it with multiple clearing firms. This one is a Bank America case. Why? Because Bank America is Jim Himes's largest donor. So while they were stealing the money, I was writing them checks while they were stealing the money. Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit. If you look on the document reader, you gotta love the document reader, folks. Let me move my phone. On the document reader, okay, filed 3 times. That's the check they cashed. Plaintiff, Bank America. Kelly Dryan Warren is the attorney for Bank America's outside counsel. Judge Taggart Adams is a partner, and he is the administrative judge of Stamford, and he's been there for, 30-something years. So, receipt after receipt of service. This case cost us $36. Wallingford, East Hartford, Waterbury, Cheshire, where the letters went for this case. On the document reader, and when you look closely, the court stayed every case pending arbitration at NASDAQ, the SEC, and FINRA. Now, Jim Himes has oversight of NASDAQ, FINRA, the SEC, on the Financial Services Commission. So when I sue Bank America, like right here on the document reader, and Beverly Painter and Kelly Dryan Warren are listed, and the court sends us back, of return of papers with no checkboxes, no docket number, no signature. Clerk. Clerk who? Hold on a second. None of the boxes are checked as it being deficient. Well, here's the check, which they cashed. Gave it to them on these 3 dates, which they timestamped. And they stole $4,950, which is not a lot. But here we go. What happened in the cases? Well, it's real clear. I sold 100 shares of PMC Sierra and Bank America falsified the audit, falsified its representation. And that's not all they falsified, folks. The bank, okay, the bank went to Denise Merrill, Secretary of State, and had the firm dismantled. My firm. Now, my firm is a Delaware corporation called Greenwich Global, LP. So when you look at the documents everywhere, by the way, here's the certified receipts of them signing for the packages. We spent a hell of a lot of money, okay, folks? A hell of a lot of money. Here's another one. Okay, there's hundreds of them. Here's another 30 of them in the red box. This is number 1 to number 30. So when you pull the cases out, okay, no signature. Filed when? January 2013. Hold on a second. What were they accused of doing on this one? We sold 500 Ribozyme, which is a company I was investment banker for, at 11 1/8 for proceeds of $5,562. Now, the cases were stayed pending arbitration that Jim Himes rigged, and he stole $50 million. So that's why Blumenthal offered me a bribe of $100 million. You understand? Let me explain and explain and explain. Here we go. The town of Wilton, the municipality, had a guy barred from the securities industry for life twice who orchestrated multiple frauds through the Wilton Police Department. Now, that may sound extreme or odd, you know, but some of these cases, like here's one, it's quite thick. The check, cashed, the activity logs, Wilton, Norwalk, Stamford, East Haven, money laundering. And what happened? I don't know whose signatures these are, but there's case after case after case. Okay, so look on the document reader. Paid a marshal $40 to serve it twice. NASD regulation. Working for Jim Himes. Stealing money. I'm saying there are hundreds and hundreds of money laundering cases that Jim Himes covered up. You can go through the file. They're listed one at a time. There's 100 cases of it. Second request, motion for discovery denied. They falsified the 1099s. They crossed stocks at zero. And in many cases, the court, like here's one, number 35. These are older ones. Eileen Condren, total criminal. Sold 100 shares of Checkpoint Solution at $148 15/16 for $14,893. Received no proceeds. Receive no 1099. And the address was changed on the brokerage account. So who'd we sue? NF Clearing, NASDAQ, and who else? That's the second check. Elizabeth Clancy. Okay. Elizabeth Clancy, NASDAQ, U.S. Clearing, Greenwich Global, that's my firm, LP. Now, that business was closed by Denise Merrill. Okay, so we sued Denise Merrill multiple times. And what happened? There's plenty here. We will be responsible for the acts of our employees, and we will take such reasonable action as may be necessary or appropriate and consistent with sound business practice. No, they created a firm. Now, my firm was a Delaware corporation. They created a Connecticut company called Greenwich Global, LLC. So I own LP, Delaware Corporation. They own LLC. And I caught them laundering, hundreds of millions. Well, hold on a second. Go through every case, which is different. Here's a case against Fiserv. Put it on the document reader. Hey, who signed it? Who the hell knows? Well, there's a copy of the check. We sold Juniper Networks at 161 for proceeds. We did not authorize the trade. We did not receive the proceeds. The address was fraudulently changed. We would not receive a statement, confirm, or 1099. So what happened was they were crossing stocks at zero, stealing them at zero. Got a cost basis of zero. The people who owned the stocks had their stocks stolen at zero, which did not generate a 1099. So what I'm saying is that Jim Himes is responsible. Here's another one. Fiserv number 39, generating 16 grand. Bank America cash stolen GGLP checks and claimed to be Greenwich Global's attorney, when in fact they were setting up a fictitious company through Denise Merrill that was called Greenwich Global LLC, a Connecticut corporation. So my company got defrauded. They stole the stocks at zero. I believe they stole 1 million shares. But when you go through this, we had 250,000 shares of Paladin Labs. We bought it at 75 cents. And it was taken over at 150, which is $37.5 million. And Jim Himes covered it up. Now, what I can demonstrate with these documents is that they were submitted and time-stamped by the court 10 times each, in many cases. They generated records from the court I mean, you can look right here. Kelly, Dry and Warren, Judge Adams's firm, signed for a package, filed 3 times with the court, and Judge Adams's firm stole the money. Are we clear about that? So when Judge Adams's firm steals the money and they're Jim Himes' largest donor, guess what? It's racketeering by the Financial Services Congressional Committee using the Stamford Superior Court on 500,000 transactions. Okay. Well, I sued him multiple times, every way possible, every case dismissed, no discovery, no hearings. I got shot at, 73 protection orders denied, multiple rapes involved in the cases, and absolute ton of records, 100 cases that weigh 50 pounds each, describing how a congressman covered up money laundering on a massive scale. Now, you look through these boxes, you can just keep pulling stuff out. Okay, it's kind of a mess. Who's in charge? Mike Bowler. Who's that? The Bar Association. I filed 32 complaints with the Bar Association and 63 judicial conduct complaints with the judiciary. And where is the judiciary? Oh, they're involved up to their eyeballs with money laundering. So, what would I say about the towns involved with the money laundering? Then their registrars destroy petitioning candidate signatures for a congressional candidate, and the delegates at the convention, first of all, they hold the convention on an Indian tribe property, Mohegan Sun, which can't hold an election convention because it's a sovereign nation unto itself. So here we go. Where are the videos of Ben Proto rigging the elections through the same people who have been served many times in Stamford, in Norwalk, in Bridgeport? Look at Bridgeport. Surprisingly, Stamford is worse than Bridgeport, and people think Bridgeport is the center of election fraud in Connecticut. No, it is not. Where is the center of election fraud in Connecticut? I would argue it's in Norwalk. Why? Well, the Republicans are working for the Democrats that steal the money. Who stole this money? Here's just, 10 cases out of the hundreds of cases, out of the hundreds of boxes of cases. And you wonder, like, here's an example. I didn't touch on this, but I will. This is how it was served. Here's the parties. You keep the documents, okay? Let me read you the paragraph, and then we'll end it. Let me show you the paragraph I'm about to read. Plaintiff was given a threat ultimatum and a deadline by Kelly, Dry & Warren, Judge Adams's law firm. Police allowed a contract killer to threaten the plaintiff. Yes, the chief of police of Stamford sent a contract killer to kill me, and I fought him for 2.5 hours. There are 30 911 calls that Judge Provader, Judge Heller, and Judge Jacobs refused to play. Period. Denied grand juries, 30. Denied grand jury, regular trials, denied. And here we go. get back to what I wrote. Bank America attorneys falsely claim to be my attorney. Wow. Wow. Holy moly. There's the check. That's when it was filed, February 2014. A year after the hired hitman, who was hired to kill a cop named Dealey, then he was hired to kill a cop named Lamb, went to court. The state's attorney of New Haven freed the guy to kill me. Hey, be careful what you say. I'm making a video, but I'm putting the cream in the coffee. The Judge Adams update is done.
Just call me when you're done, Johnny.
Yeah. Now, if you want me to talk to Tim Judge, I'm happy to do it, but I don't need to do it. But I'm telling you that if they incarcerated a father and actually locked up the kids, where were they, 5 to 13 years old? 5 of them?
Yeah, they're not 5, but high school age.
Okay, so maybe 12 to 16, something like that, 5 kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so what?
Yeah, I don't know exactly the ages.
Well, I looked up his case, you know? It's every judge. It's
talk if you're on a video.
Oh, okay. I'll call you back.
All right, bye.
She, the lady on the phone, got raped, got threatened at gunpoint, got foreclosed upon by the doctor who threatened her, and the doctor is claiming that he bought Judge White. So how bad is 500,000 felonies compared to the oxy deaths created by Attorney General Tong, who had a duty to the victims of opioids that were overdosed, including Sam Magliari's niece, who sued Judge White, who's sitting in a mental facility for he got locked up in multiple jails for 650 days on a misdemeanor. On a misdemeanor. Or multiple misdemeanors. So, same court, same judges. Judge Lee is now involved up to his eyeballs. And Bank America is involved in stealing multiple plaintiffs' homes, like I was just speaking to her about Tim Judge. The case is in my other office, not here, so I can't really show it to you. But who's the culprit? Who's involved? Up to his eyeballs. Attorney General Sean Rutchick force medicated me to murder me because I have filed so many complaints against the judges, which have never been answered. So when you complain about Judge like Adams steering cases to his own attorneys, laundering money, working with Denise Merrill to take over a brokerage firm, and stole all its assets, which was rigging stocks and crossing stocks at zero out of unsuspecting people's accounts. And then, you can look at the graphs of the stocks that these people stole. Okay. They stole 8,000 shares of this stock at 20. It went as high as 1,185 times 8,000. It went to 185. It went to 1,185. I need a calculator for that. How many million is that? 185 times 8,000 times 10. 185 times 8,000 times 10. So 1,185 times, I don't know, is that 35 million? I don't know what that is. 8,000 times 100, 1,000. Oh, no, it's about 10 million. Sorry. My bad. So they stole 10 million of that stock.